We had our environmental emergency classes yesterday, so we were out in the woods, and it made me thinking about heat and cold and gaining and losing heat. Our body produces some heat just through regular metabolism. So when we break down foods into glucose and the other nutrients, it gives off some heat. So we have an internal furnace or an internal metabolism that helps generate some heat. But we also gain and lose heat to the environment. And we can do this through 5 other mechanisms. One is radiation, and we've all experienced that. We've been outside, felt the sun warming us, or we've been near a bonfire, but you're not actually in contact with whatever is producing that heat. Something is producing heat, and then through radiation energy, that heat is being transferred to you, but you don't have contact with it. You're some distance. We're obviously not touching the sun, but you go outside and it still warms you up. We can also lose it through convection, and we think about this primarily with wind chill. But if we stay perfectly still, don't move, our heat from our body is going to heat up the air around us a little bit, and those air molecules will have that heat and will form almost like a little warm blanket around you. And if it stays there and doesn't move at all, it can help keep you warm. But when something like wind comes along and blows it away, or you move and you shift, then we lose that little blanket. So staying still can help you stay warm in that sense, but then you're not using your muscles to create more energy either, and create more heat. But that's where wind chill comes in. So the faster the air is moving, the wind comes along, blows away that warm blanket around you. That is our convection. Now, conduction is when we touch something. So if you're standing up on a cold day and you sit down on a cold bench or a cold stone, you're going to lose heat through touching something. And we know that water conducts heat about 250 times greater than just air. So this is why falling in water or getting wet is really bad for hypothermia, because we can lose some heat to that very, very quickly. And we also lose it through evaporation. So this is when our body sweats, and then that sweat gets converted from liquid to gas, and that's evaporation, and that takes energy to do that, and that's heat energy, so we can lose heat that way. Now, if the environment is very, very humid, and there's a lot of water vapor already in the air, then we cannot evaporate the sweat off of our skin as well, and it doesn't cool us as well as it should. That's why when there's a dry heat, it tends to feel cooler than when there's sort of a hot, humid day. And then we also can lose a little bit through respiration. So just the process of breathing in and out, we breathe out some of that heat. Now, it's not something that we think about a lot. It's not a huge amount, but it's a little bit, and it is something to, I guess, put in the back of your mind. That's another way that we can gain or lose heat. Now, whether we're gaining or losing heat depends on the environment around us. So typically we think about losing heat. So we're outside in a cold area, we touch something cold and we lose heat to that. We fall in cold water and we lose heat to that. But if the water or the rock or the air is warmer than our body, then we actually are gaining heat from the environment. So be it radiation, we tend to gain more heat than we lose through that, although you're radiating heat right now. But generally we think about sunshine and warming up with that, so we tend to think about gaining heat with radiation, but it goes both ways. Something hot or cold, so if we sit down on a warm bench, it would warm us up, or you have a heating blanket in your bed and that will warm you up, versus laying into something cold, and that will then cause you to lose heat. So you have to think about the environment around you, and if it is warmer than you, you're probably gaining heat. If it's cooler than you, you're probably losing heat. But remember, we lose it through radiation, conduction, convection, evaporation, and respiration.